In this video, I'd like you to get a little bit more practice working with vector tables in the shapefile format, but I'd also like you to start thinking about the relationship between the detail or the number of vertices that you draw, the kind of accuracy or the fit of the geometry that we're doing as a way of representing the real world, and then in the sense that the real world is the stuff that we're trying to measure and observe. And then the third thing is the map scale. So how does map scale, detail, and accuracy kind of relate to each other? But in order to do that, what I'd like you to do is start by adding a new field to this table, this hello shapefile table. So what we've done previously is I've right-clicked, gone to properties, and then gone to fields and added it that way. Um, and that would work, but I'm going to just show you a slightly different. There's always more than one way to skin a cat, as we've talked about. So here's another way that you can add a column to a table, which not looking at the schema view, but looking at the table view. So I'm going to click the pencil so that I can start editing it. And then I think that's going to give me the option of this new field button that's over here, maybe towards the right. And I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to call this map scale kind of all, one word, or the space with that underscore that I think you're probably used to at this point. And it's going to be an integer, that's fine, 10 characters long, that's fine. Say OK. And then here I'm going to say 1500. And because that was the map scale that we digitized this pond, um, right? Is that fair? So, and then I'm going to save that and toggle off and close it. And so now I should just a double check. There it is. I've stored that extra column of the table. So now what I'd like you to do is zoom out to 10,000 scale. And what you can see here is that when we were at 1500, the haste of my polygon drawing is pretty apparent, and you can really see the artifacts of the device that we're using to represent the world kind of are highlighted and are very obvious. We're using this polyline that basically has closure to create a polygon. And so you can see that there's these series of line segments that make hard angles, and it doesn't particularly look great. It also kind of really exposes the artifact of our observation method on our representation and on our quality of our results. But should you just step back a little bit, it's harder to see those artifacts. So it seems like the detail is related to the scale. Is that fair? And just to kind of explore that a little bit more, I'm just going to lock this up and turn off that so we don't see that polygon anymore. And I'm going to ask you to draw another polygon, but this time at 1 to 10,000. So make sure your magnifier is there. Be honest. Just keep yourself at 1 to 10,000. And then do you remember how to edit these things? You got to click the pencil and then get the polygon and then start someplace. And the best you can without zooming in, try to draw this shoreline again. And my hunch is that you're probably going to use even fewer vertices than you used last time. And you're going to get frustrated because you can't see through this little target thing. So you don't know how accurate you are because you're not sure they're really lining up. And then the line seems to get in the way, and it's probably going to be a frustrating experience. So when you're done, just right click, say, all right, that was my second attempt. It's still hello pond, but it's hello pond from 1 to 10,000 map scale. Is that okay? And now if I'm going to just save my edits, stop editing, and then look at these two. And what I'd like to do is be able to visualize them a little bit better. So first let's go to let's open our attributes and see that, okay, we've got two rows now, ID1, ID2, and let's bring up a new toolbar. So I'm going to go View, Toolbars, Selection Toolbars, and then I'm going to click this one on the far left that has the the arrow pointing to a gold box within a white box. And if I do that and click on this out, and then let's just go ahead and zoom in. So I'm going to unlock the scale and zoom in and see that if you grab one, you've highlighted it kind of underneath. And if I open up my attribute table, you can see that this row in the table, which is highlighted blue, corresponds to this geometry here, right? And same if I clicked here, I'm going to say that this feature corresponds to this row, right? Is that fair? So then I'm just going to deselect and we're going to not really worry too much about selections because we're going to do the equivalent of selections in Earth Engine uh, in the next lab. Um, but then the next thing I wanted to show you is if you double clicked on that, which is the same as right clicking and saying properties, but this time you go to symbology. Um, right now we are using a single color to represent kind of all of the features in the shapefile, or all of the rows in the table are being displayed with the same color, the geometry associated with the rows in the table. So let's change that. So I'm going to go to categorized, and then I'm going to say, let's look at the map scale. And random colors are fine. So I'm going to go classify. And I've got purple, green, and orange here. And those are, I can live with purple and green. If you don't like those, you can shuffle the random colors. Sometimes it gives you a red and a green that if you're for colorblind folks, you're probably not going to be able to distinguish that, but you're welcome to shuffle the colors around until you can see that there's three different colors at play here. And if I say okay, so now what you're seeing is that from one table you can use different colors based on the different attributes that are stored in a column. Is that fair?